Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And I, I, I was just telling my panelists now that I don't know how to cover or not show my excitement. I feel so excited and honored to have this wonderful women with me here today, celebrating my mental health matters at one years of mental health awareness and destigmatization. I am so excited. So welcome. Please, if you are watching, share the link.
Of mental health awareness.
Where's that noise coming from? So please share the link, grab your seat, and just be ready to hear this unique perspectives about about mental health. So I am honored to have with me here today. Uh, I have our first lady here. Let me highlight as I speak. I have our First Lady here, Excellency, the First Lady of Ondo State, Chief Mrs. Betty Akeredolu. I am so honored to have you here, ma. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And I have here Pimo, Pastor Maury. She's such a wonderful leader to me. Can you say hello to our viewers? Pimo, you're muted.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, as the case may be. Thank you, Dio, for having me here. Such a pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am. And I have Reverend Victoria Lawrence here. She's joining us from the UK. Thank you for being here, Reverend. I appreciate your presence.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting me, Dayo. God bless you. Good to
Amen.
be here.
Amen. Okay. Last not the least, our legal professional is here. I have Barrister Falake Ajayi here. She just wants to be called Falake Ajayi, but I recognize you, Mar. Welcome. Thanks for joining.
And thank you for having me on the show. Good evening, everyone.
Okay, all right. So we'll get right into it. And what I will start with, Excellency hasn't been a member of this group, but and I'm sure she will join us soon, hopefully. But I have the privilege of having all the other guests as members of my mental health matters. So I will put these two questions in one. Please, as we'll start, can you tell our viewers one new thing you've learned since you joined my Mental Health Matters Facebook group, and your perspective as a woman, or when it comes to mental health? I will start with Pimo.
You just had to start with me, Dio.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, it's a pleasure to have you, Ma. Everyone, honestly, on this conversation, together. I feel really, honored to be on this conversation with every one of us. Good evening, Ma. Good evening, Maz. Good evening, Ma. So, to the question, it's amazing how I met Dio and how passionate she was and still is about mental health. I think I've been on the group uh, less than a year. I don't think I started with you, but I've been in the group for a while. And I would say that one thing that I have learned, I'll be honest, I haven't participated so much because of time restraint in the videos and all of that. But one thing that I'm taking away, being in mental health is the awareness, the level of awareness. I think I am more knowledgeable now about mental health. Thanks to you, Dio, and I do not hesitate to always refer people or introduce the group to people. So I would say that I've learned that with respect to awareness, letting people know and understand the importance of mental health, especially in this part of the world where I currently live, Nigeria, Africa. So yeah, I would say that is one thing that I see being stressed, being emphasized, and being talked about, creating that awareness, and carrying everyone along, yeah. So I would say that. Now, with respect to the second question, which is, what is my perspective about mental health? My perspective is all encompassing. Unfortunately, honestly, I didn't exactly have the full understanding of the importance of mental health until recently. And when I say recently, we're talking about maybe some 5, 6 years ago. So, and every day I come to understand the importance, especially with women. I'm a pastor. My husband is a pastor. I pastor alongside my husband, and I currently also pastor a branch of our church in Lagos. And dealing with women, aside from that, I have a women based ministry group called Babes You Define. And so I interface with women on daily basis. And I realized from every perspective, religious, social, spiritual, mental health is very pivotal to our success in life. And unfortunately, we have kind of like, relegated it to the background. But like I said, the awareness is getting more and more. And I'm really hoping that it would, get the center stage the more, so that a lot more people can embrace it. And so I would say that for me, mental health is key. Mental health is key to your health, your general health, because we focus so much on our physical health and we put aside the mental health. But mental health for me is key, and it is very important to your success and your fulfilling anything in life.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. I will go to Reverend Victoria Lawrence now to tell us about what you've learned since you joined the group. You're muted, Mar.
I yes, yeah. Thank you so much, Dayo. What I've learned since I've joined the group is that your 1 year anniversary is this weekend, is now.
Yes.
And also there was something that was posted that the signs of healing is that you become less judgmental, you show more self-love to yourself, and you're more observing. So that's one of the things I learned there. And going to the second question, in terms of my perspective as a woman, I'm a pastor as well. I run a women ministry and I mentor quite a number of leaders, mostly women. And I've learned from mental health that, particularly from faith-based, that God is passionate about all aspects of our life, including our mental health, and that mental illness can happen to anyone at any time, no matter what race or status, economic power. It can happen at any time. So that's what I've learned about. He has no respect for anyone. It can happen to anyone at any stages of their life, and anything can trigger mental illness. So is mental health is not discriminatory at all. Mhm.
Okay. Thank you, Mar. Thank you for that. And I have a group member here saying that the platform has helped her prioritize their mental health as other general health, which is similar to what Pastor Maury also just talked about. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being a member of the group. Uh, so I would go to our barrister now before I bring the first lady in. I just want her to have an idea of what's been going on in the group, and then I would ask her the next question. So my barrister Falake Ajayi, can you tell us, since you've been in the group, you've actually been an active member of the group, what you've learned, Ma?
Well, let me start by appreciating you for this initiative. Before now, I used to think the issue of mental health, it's a personal crusade because I've been, talking about it, telling people it's very important. So it was a pleasant surprise to me when I saw your group and I came to understand that a lot of people actually understand that our mental health matters a lot. So it gave me a great pleasure. Then I've been reading about amnesia, and on the group, I've been reading a lot about it, hearing a lot about it now. So I'm understanding it better and understanding the fact that a lot of people are living with that mental health issue, and it's something that can be that you can live with, and you can live with people who actually have that mental health issue. Then my
Dementia.
perspective, I beg your pardon.
So I said dementia, the topic we discussed
Dementia,
recently.
yes, dementia, yes, dementia, yes. And then my perspective, everywhere you go to, we are always confronted with mental health issues. We are always confronted with mental health. For instance, in Nigeria here, you go to the market and a little thing, you just see the other person on the other side going on and on, and you understand that you are not the problem. The person is probably taking it out on you. It's what you get to see even on the street. You are driving, and then without any just cause, can you hear me still?
Yes.
Without any just cause, somebody will just be there raining curses on you, or you will not overtake them sometimes, and then you will hear all sorts of name calling and all that. So it's something that we are confronted with every day, everywhere we go to, and I understand that it's time that we all understood that it is time we took our mental health more seriously.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Mara. You made a very good point. It's not just the understanding of mental health is not just enough for us as a person. It also helps us as we relate with other people. And in terms of dementia, like you mentioned, it's impacting so
Other
many lives.
people.
And thank you for sharing that. So now we'll move on to Our Excellency, the First Lady, to tell us. So now, to you, Ma, the question I would like to start with you is: as a woman, as a leader, what is your perspective regarding mental health? And I'm saying women here because I've had a wonderful panel of men as well, and their own where they're coming from is also different. But for us as women, as leaders, putting everything together on the home front and everywhere, Ma, what is your perspective on mental health? You're welcome to the group.
Thank you very much for inviting me to your group. Actually, it was Kehinde Adewite
Yes.
that introduced me to you and about this program that you have initiated, and I want to congratulate you for beaming light on mental health. I can tell you that in our environment here, when you mention mental health, people's mind go to a crazy person, let me tell you. The awareness is very low, and as a public health professional, I understand that mental health is not simply the absence of mental disorder or disabilities. It is a state of well-being of an individual, and the ability of the individual to realize his or her own abilities to cope normal stresses of life. And that state can make it possible for you to work productively and able to contribute to your community. And it's regardless of age, sex, income, or demographic variables, all of us are at risk of developing a mental health issue. And to my understanding, there are some social, economic, and biological factors that can explain the extent to which a mental health issue can precipitate in an individual. So that's my take on the perspective of mental health. And I'm very happy to identify with this group, and I will be placed in a better position to even share or raise awareness about mental health issues amongst women that I interact with on a daily basis in my state. So thank you again for inviting me.
It is such a pleasure and honor that you accepted my request through through Barrister Adebite. Thank you for being here, Ma. And you mentioned a very important point, the population that you deal with on a large scale as a leader in the state, and even with your advocacy and effort with breast cancer and with domestic violence. And I'll come to that shortly, Ma. So now, to Reverend Victoria, I want to start with you. I want to ask you this question first. So you are coming here now, not just as a reverend. When we discussed, I wanted you to come from the perspective of a mother,
Yes, ma'am.
of a mother of someone who has a mental health challenge or mental health situation that people are also not so enlightened about, which is autism. So I want you to talk from that perspective, as in what's, how does the awareness about mental health and the reduction of the stigma that is attached to mental illnesses, how does it impact you as a person? Being a mother of someone that has autism, can you shed more light with us on that? Okay, ma'am, did you get my question?
No, I think my internet was playing up, so I've used another device.
Okay, so I was asking you to talk to us from the perspective of a mother of someone who has autism, who has a mental health issue, and how how awareness and destigmatization relates to what you've gone through as a mother and what you currently stand for.
Okay, thank you so much for that. As a mother, I have a daughter that's got autism, and she's 20 years old. She was diagnosed so having autism when she was young. She has a complex need, which is autism, ADHD, epilepsy, and a few other diagnoses that comes with having being an autistic child. So in the community. Autism is not a mental disorder; it's a neurodevelopmental disorder. So, but some children with autism would also develop some form of mental illness along their path of life as they grow up because of the nature of the condition that they're battling with. And I know that within our community, particularly African community, even a child with autism is sometimes seen as either demon possessed, or something is gone wrong, the family has done something. Oftentimes parents don't like to talk about a child that has got disability like autism. And I remember sometime when one of the encounter that my daughter had with epilepsy, somebody said, "Oh, warapa," and they started keeping away from her, thinking epilepsy is contagious. So it is, and from that, with most of the parents that I deal with who has children with special need, experience the same type of stigma within the community, and they find it extremely, can be very isolating. the stigma with having a child with especially, you're almost forever apologizing to the community for having a child with disability, because the way you're looked down upon, the way you're stigmatized, the way you're isolated, the way the child is treated among the community groups, be it church or in the family or in the community. And this can make parents to be extremely lonely and isolated, and which can then lead to mental health problem. Because when you have a child with disability, any form of disability, it is a very lonely journey. You battle with denial yourself as a parent, especially if you are now from the Christian community. Some people make you feel that you're not praying hard enough, that you need to pray. You need to cast out this demon. We can agree, we'll stand in agreement with you, woman of God. This is a prayer. They will remind you of the Bible passages where Jesus healed demon possessed and healed all those kind of stuff. And I remember somebody say, praying for my daughter. I say, oh, the Lord will make her a real child. The only one Sodomo. Those are the kind of prayer that people pray, for your child. So those kind of feeling makes parents very, very lonely and isolated, to the point that, because having a child with disability, you're making a major career decision because of that child. Many people have to give up their career aspiration because of that. Many people have to, they're economically disadvantaged because of that. Some marriages break because of a child with disability, because I've heard men say it's the fault of the woman because she had a child with autism. So this is a very isolating journey already, and it affects the mental state of any parent, because you can be depressive, you can feel alone in your journey. So what I do is I raise awareness of this work, and I tell parents that got children with disability not to be ashamed or embarrassed of their children. Talk about it, seek help and seek support, and particularly to take time out to look after themselves as a parent. I hope that answered your question.
Well, it did. It answered the question in a very robust way, and thank you for sharing all these things with us.
Thank you.
You were laughing or giggling when you talked about that prayer, but I know from therapy sessions and with working with my clients and doing medication management, I know the impact of such words. I know the impact of such ignorance when people just talk without knowing.
Yeah.
But the good thing is sometimes they just mean well, is because they don't know much about it and they're trying to help. So thank you for your effort to raise awareness in regards to that. And talking about the prayer, it will bring Pimo to light now, because they are, the pastors in the church, and there are people that had to leave their church because the pastor would, like in the case of my nephew, when she came to talk about autism, she told us how a pastor told her that, hey, I think you need to take a break from coming to church because of our autistic child. And when people think that things can be solved with prayers, how do we draw the line, Pimo? How do we draw that line between it is time for you to seek professional help and it's time for you, or just keep praying? Where do people draw the line? And you as a leader, how does mental health impact what you do? And how does awareness of mental health help how you help people?
Thank you so much for that question. And I just want to join you also to celebrate uh, Reverend Victoria for being magnanimous, enough to share her own story. And I salute you for your courage, Ma. Uh, I'm a pastor. I'm a woman fully in ministry. I engage women and men, but mostly women. And that prayer you said they prayed for you, Ma, even as a pastor, hearing it, I'm already cringing. And I'm like, why would we do such things? It's a different conversation around CS. And some people till now still feel when you have a child through CS, it's not normal. It's not normal delivery. And I ask, which is abnormal, which is normal? Once the child is fine and the baby is fine, the mother is fine, then both deliveries are normal deliveries.
Yeah.
So talking about mental health, as a leader, you said about drawing the line. My pastor says there's a difference between foolishness and faith. So sometimes what we think we exhibit as faith is just mere foolishness. And we just need to be able to identify. And I like what you said, Dio, that sometimes it's also as a result of ignorance, and so we shouldn't be quick to crucify these people, because I probably would have been in their shoes too some years ago, identifying certain things and shying away from certain things and just labeling, certain people, like Her Excellency rightly said, when you hear the issue of mental health, the first thing that comes to an average mind is that the person is colo, the person is crazy, and meeting Dio was also one of the good things that happened to me in understanding that there are mental illnesses. It doesn't mean that the person is crazy. So for me as a church leader, I know when to say no. I think at this point, you need to seek professional help. One of the things I also tell people, example for marriage counseling, some people feel that when they're going through issues in their marriages, their pastors should have the final say. And I say sometimes your pastors are not professional counselors. So if your pastors are not professional counselors, they might not be able to deliver to you the answers that you need. There's a reason why people are called professionals in certain fields, and there's a reason why you seek help from them. And I, as a pastor, there are certain counseling that I'm not a professional marriage counselor. Yes, I can counsel you with respect to marriage. I can share my own experience. I can share from the Word of God, yes, which is our foundation. But there are certain issues that are emotional in nature, they're social in nature. They deal a lot with our mindsets. It deals a lot with our social ideologies. And I tell you, sometimes no matter the word that you preach, sometimes what we do is we preach at people. No matter the amount of what you're preaching at them, they are not hearing it until you're able to sit with a professional who reads in between the lines, who is able to, and a professional in line with the word of God. So the person is balanced, and there are so many of them like that. And so I will tell you that when an issue is borderline mental. So, for example, a lot of people carry baggages. I'm emphasizing on marriage because it's one of the areas where we find a lot of problems and a lot of issues that result in a lot of domestic violence issues and issues at home and all of that. And I usually tell people that a lot of people carry baggages into marriages that are not being addressed, hurts that are not being addressed. And I say, people, it's not until when you're in a mental institution that there is a problem. Sometimes these things require that we seek help, and it shouldn't be anything that we should be ashamed of. I think where the problem lies, and I think Reverend Victoria, sorry, touched on that, is the fact that we've spiritualized everything, and so when people come with those issues, even the pastors are the ones encouraging and say, go and fast about it, go and pray about it. Am I saying there are issues that you cannot fast away? Yes, there are. But I tell you that there are some issues, even if you fast from today to tomorrow, if you do not seek medical help, then you would not be going forward. You won't be moving forward anyway. And so I would say that as the woman of God, as a pastor, as a minister, there's a thin line between foolishness and faith. And when you're crossing that line, I'll tell you, no, this is not faith. This is foolishness. Seek help. There's nothing wrong in seeking help. You shouldn't be ashamed to seek help for yourself or for your loved ones.
Pimo, I'm really proud of you for all your perspective as a religious leader, because there's so many lives, so many families, not just the individuals that you deal with. Every individual, each individual has a network of people that their lives impact. So when you have a leader in a spiritual position that understands this thing, it goes a long way in helping people. And talking of baggages, I'm talking of things that people do. Right before I bring the first lady in to talk to us about the advocacy, the breast cancer, prevention of breast cancer, and the advocacy for domestic violence, I want our legal professional to quickly talk about the baggage issue. When we hear anything legal, like I said on the men's panel, it is stress. legal things, even if it has to do with buying land, buying a car, buying anything and making things legal, it comes with a lot of stress. And then we have people dealing with divorce, child custody, violence, all sort of things. As a legal professional, and with your knowledge about mental health, how do you think that these two fields relate? And what is the impact of knowing about mental health? How does
Thank
it
you.
help in legal issues? Barrister Falake.
Thank you very much. Like you rightly pointed out, having legal matters, legal issues in court can be really stressful. This is probably because most times these are things that we never expected. For instance, I'm a lawyer that I have particular interest in family law. Usually when women especially get married, I want to believe it's even the same way with our men folk too. Most people don't foresee situations like that could lead to divorce, and they will have to be fighting over custody, maintenance, and all that. So it comes with its mental health challenges, because these are things they've never foreseen. So I've seen women, especially those ones who also battled with domestic violence, they are really, really under it. It could be overwhelming. And then our legal system too. I found out it's not very helpful. For instance, somebody was asking me today, she wants to file for divorce, and she was asking me how long it's going to take. And I had to tell her truthfully that there was no way I could give her any assurances, because most times things will happen, especially in Nigeria, things we've never foreseen. For instance, now the judiciary staff, they've been on strike for like 3 weeks now. We didn't foresee that happening. Last year, we also had these issues of COVID-19 lockdown and all that. So for like a year or so like that, nothing was happening. So it could be embarrassing. Sometimes you get to court too, with no fault of yours. It's even overwhelming for us as lawyers too. All prepared, you assume your matter would be coming up for trial, only for you to get to court. Maybe the lawyer on the other side had written to court to ask for permission to stay away from court for one reason or the other, or probably the judge won't be able to sit for one reason or the other, and you were not told beforehand. So it could be challenging, not just for litigants. These are people who come to us. It's also challenging for lawyers. I recall about 8 years or so ago, when I took over the practice of my boss, my principal, I will say principal. He was elevated to the bench, and I had to take over his practice. And then because the workload was so much, I found that I wasn't sleeping well. I'll just wake up in the night and I'll remember, oh, I need to file this, I need to do this, I wasn't sleeping well. Fortunately, or rather unfortunately, that year, we lost 2 or 3 lawyers, and that was a wake-up call for me. And I told myself, it didn't just stop at that. Immediately they died, or almost immediately after they died, people went to their chambers to collect their files, so that they can brief another lawyer to take over those cases. So I told myself, Falake, if you drop dead, all these matters that you are losing sleep over will still go on. And then I had to, before then I was thinking, there's no way I could take time off work. I have to be there 24/7. But when I saw what was happening all around me, I told myself I had to take time off. So, I used to encourage people, lawyers and litigants too, to prepare. When you ask me how long it's going to take, I'll tell you, I can tell you how long it will take me to do what is needful from my own side. But I can't tell you what will happen because of these so many unforeseen factors. So when people are prepared mentally, when you tell them the truth, being forthright, I have discovered is very helpful. When you are forthright to them, you don't give them false assurances. Because if you tell someone his matter is going to take 2 months, and then it keeps dragging for 6 months, 8 months, such a person will be discouraged. But if you have prepared the person, this can happen, this can happen. But all things being equal, your case shouldn't take time. But because of unforeseen factors, we are all in Nigeria together. We know things can happen. They will declare public holiday sometime. It gets them prepared. And they will say, oh, you've mentioned it. Then in your own small way, you encourage them, because sometimes people, it will seem like they have the whole world crashing on them, like they are all alone. But if you make people understand that they are not all alone, they are not the only person facing such challenges, I think it's very helpful, and it has been very helpful with my clients. Thank you.
Thank you for those points you raised. I think one very important thing you mentioned is that even leaders, even professional leaders, also need to take care of their mental health. It's not just about the people that we serve. Leaders need to take care of their mental health as well, and that things are unpredictable. We never can tell when things will happen, but when it happens, we actually need to take time out for ourselves. And this is a point where I will bring the first lady in, and I'm going to ask her two questions back to back, so we really get a better picture of this. Matt, so I met you, like I said, it was a comment you made about an ongoing issue, a viral issue about domestic violence that I saw on Barrister David's page, that called my attention to what you were doing. And then I read more about what you do, your effort, about that, all that you do for breast cancer, to increase breast cancer awareness, the prevention, the support for families, and then what you also do for people going through domestic violence. Now, chronic medical issues and domestic issues, or things that has to do with family. I want you to share with us how you think all this relates to mental health. And how do you bring mental health into the picture, or how does it affect mental health, vice versa? Can you share this with us, Matt? You're muted, Matt. Oh.
Thank you for bringing in breast cancer and domestic violence into the picture. They very much relate to mental health. But before I continue, I want to say that you have a different breed of pastors. And I think more women should go into the ministry, because they appear to be real. They appear to be talking like human beings, not like angels or spirits. Here, I heard one of them saying that there is a thin line between foolishness and faith. And that's exactly what we see in this environment. And it is because of the preachings people give, is because of the advice the so-called men and women of God give. They kind of isolate themselves from being regular human beings. A woman has breast cancer. Instead of you to advise her to go to hospital, you want that woman to fast and pray and go to mountain. And as they're engaged in these activities, the cancer cells are multiplying in thousands and in millions. Like one of them rightly pointed out, these pastors or evangelists, one, you are not doctors, you are not trained to handle breast cancer. You're not even counselors. There are professionals that handle these things. And it's about time we began to realize that some of them are really misleading our people. And in the case of breast cancer, they are responsible for making our efforts come to nothingness. Because you tell a woman to access care, she would prefer to go to her pastor. And it hasn't helped matters. So breast cancer and domestic violence both have high impact on women's health. To start with, in the case of breast cancer, which I'm very much familiar with, as you may be aware, I'm a 24-year breast cancer survivor, and I can tell I'm a pro in this area. And I know that the financial burden that comes with the diagnosis alone can throw any human being off balance. The woman that is diagnosed with the disease, the entire family, because it makes entire family bankrupt. That would even, bring about depression for the entire family. So there is a link, there's a relationship between breast cancer and mental health. And if you don't handle it properly, that individual may not likely survive. Because it's not even the diagnosis itself. It's other things that have been precipitated by the diagnosis. Lack of money, most importantly, very, very critical, that lack of money. Now, you don't have the money, you're also thinking that you're going to die. These two things put together can be very devastating. Unfortunately, that's what we see in our environment. And I want to believe that it's because of that lack of money, more often than not, lead women to go an area of least resistance. Because if you go to your pastor won't say bring money for consultancy and all that, or consultation rather. So it's at the very beginning is usually free. So I want to believe that if the system can be, how would I put it, re-engineered so much that at least women can have access to care. That patronage to pastor or churches for a disease that is really, really a medical issue, it will be reduced. So like I said, in our organization, which is Breast Cancer Association of Nigeria, we understand that there is a relationship between mental health and breast cancer. And in our own way, given that the subject matter is not really well understood, and again, we don't even have the professionals. Even if we have, there are just a few in between. On our own, we formed a group called Teen Survivors Nigeria. It's an arm of Breast Cancer Association of Nigeria. What do we do? On our own, we share experience. And breast cancer has always been a subject that is discussed in hushed tones. It's only very recently that women are coming out. They don't usually come out. By the time I had my diagnosis, nobody was talking about breast cancer. You can hardly hear anyone discussing it or coming to the television or radio or talking about it. But I must be proud to say that Breast Cancer Association of Nigeria, BRECAN, has done a very good job in that regard. Now women are coming out, even saying that I'm a survivor of breast cancer, blah, blah, blah. And I think that is a big plus for our association. So now that women are stepping out and saying that, okay, I'm a survivor. I've had this experience. It kind of help others to also come out from their closet. So that led to the formation of Teen Survivor Nigeria, where we share experiences, where somebody might say, okay, my surgery site is not healing. What am I going to do? You not hear someone say, or somebody would on the group in the group would say, yeah, when I had mine, I had the same experience, and I was told to use honey. 100% honey, not adulterated honey. You rub it there, and the surgical stitches will close up. So that kind of a group is very, very encouraging, and we're very happy that quite a number of women all over the country are joining the group and sharing their experience. And with the domestic violence, which I've also thrown my weight behind because it is really getting out of hand, especially sexual based gender violence, whereby minors are defiled on daily basis. And I said, we could not just sit idly by and this is happening in this country. Most of I think all the first ladies were interested in this matter, and we are working, seriously to ensure that we put, how would that reduce? We may not say put it out 100%, but at least there should be a reduction in the cases of sexual-based violence and defilement of minors, that we are committed to passing the bill called VAP, which will give us teeth to really prosecute these animals in human skin, because it's a situation that is really getting out of hand. And in the case of rape, this is one particular issue that may not heal, or rather a mental health that may not easily heal in the life of a woman or in the life of a victim. So it's a very serious matter that if it's possible that we even put a stop to it, we don't even let it happen, especially our young girls. And it led us to come up with an initiative called Yellow Card. It's all preventive. Every child, every schoolgirl in Ondo State now has a yellow card, though it hasn't gone round, but gradually we're covering all the 18 local governments. So what it has done now, that every girl child is now aware that rape is a crime. She now knows. And she knows that if she speaks up, the government is there to protect her. If I say government is there, they will say Arabiri. Our grandma is there. So even that alone, it sends fears to potential rapists. And we're very serious about it. And that's why we must get the VAP bill passed. If we get it passed, then we know that we have really started a journey to the reduction of rape and all the sexual-based violence that is on increase in the state and even nationwide.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for all those things you've shared with us, and I am appealing, as she had talked about the bills that should be passed, that as many people watching us today, they talk about the power of one. Even when leaders take the initiative and they take the lead, they cannot do it alone. So it's important for everyone to put all hands on, to have all hands on deck so that we can move things forward for the good of everyone. But before I ask, before I bring Reverend Victoria in on the next question, I want to quickly talk about mental health as it relates to some very important points that you have all talked about. And that is, talking of people divorce and, child custody issue in terms of legal issues. There are people getting divorced because their husband, their spouses do not understand what is going on with them. Instead of supporting them to seek help, mental health care, they think it's something spiritual. They think it's just behavior issues, like when we have personality disorders, when we have bipolar disorder, when we have a woman going through depression and the husband thinks she's just being lazy, when we have people going through anxiety disorder, all sort of things. People are, it's leading to things that could have been prevented. In the case of domestic violence as well, like the first lady said, those that have issues, your mental illness is not a license for anybody to violate another human being. However, there are people who are going through mental health disorders that needs to seek help. So family members, spouses, parents, we should not give up easily on people. Please, let's look into seeking mental health care for people. Another part is with breast cancer, and in the case of even different types of cancer, because I have a very close family member that had diagnosed with cancer too. And as the first lady said, when you get that diagnosis, it first sounds to you like death sentence before you even know anything going on, and it affects the whole family member. And talking of the financial obligation or requirement, it is overwhelming. However, that time, we need to consider the psychological impact of this diagnosis on people. And this is where mental health comes into play, even when it comes to medical issues, when it comes to societal issues. And we cannot overemphasize the importance of our leaders, like I have on my panel today. We cannot overemphasize the importance of leaders knowing that mental health should not take back seats when it comes to anything that we're doing, even starting from us. Like the name of our group is My Mental Health Matters. If your own mental health matters to you, then you would know that before you can help other people too. And we should consider that. So yes, we are finally getting to the end now, and I have one other important questions to ask before we wrap up. Is as we're prioritizing mental health as a leader, and I'll ask Reverend Victoria this question. As a leader, what message do you have for other women, as you are representing women or mothers of people that might have any kind of mental health challenges or neurological challenges or psychological challenges? What message do you have for other women out there when it comes to prioritizing mental health in regards to what they're going through as a mother and even personally?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Daya. Yes, my message to every mother out there, parents out there who have a child with disability, any form of special need, is that you have to look after yourself. Because if you are not good to yourself, you cannot nurture that one child that God has blessed you with. You have to take care of your mind, of your mental health. And how do you do that? There are things that you cannot do as a mother because you're raising a child with disability. Do not feel ashamed. Do not see yourself as a failure because you're not able to achieve certain things. So it is very, very important for you to seek help in areas that you cannot do. One of the things I do, I get someone to come home to do my cleaning for me, every week or every other week. I get people to cook for me when I cannot cook. Not because I can't cook, because I know that taking care of a child with disability and working as well and running the ministry is a lot of work. So I've learned to seek help in areas that I can delegate, and have help. So do not be ashamed. Look after yourself. If you need to take medication, do take it. It is not lack of faith to take medication. If you need to see the doctor, take time out, and look after yourself. Let that child go to respite. Consider respite opportunity. That is a way of giving yourself a rest day. Many parents are afraid, or they don't like to send their child to respite provision. In UK, we are privileged to have those services. Let the girl or the boy go. That day you can spend time alone with yourself and also with other people. So prioritize yourself, prioritize your mind. Is so important. You cannot give your child the good care that they deserve if you are not okay. And it is also okay not to be okay as a woman. Don't try to be a superwoman. It is okay not to be okay. It is okay not to want to clean. It is okay not to want to cook. It is okay not to want to go to party or buy the ashwabi or put yourself under unnecessary pressure, because remember, you are dealing with something different that other people are not dealing with. And you all know one excuse for the decision that you choose to make concerning your personal situation and your mental health. Take good care of yourself because you deserve it and you are important. And the life of your child actually depends on you being okay and looking after yourself. So that's my, and seek help from family. Don't feel like you have to do it alone. Seek help from people. There are more help out there than you think, but don't assume. Sometimes that's the mistake. We want people to offer us help, but people are waiting for you to ask them for the help. So don't wait for people to offer help to you. Go out there and get help that you need, and don't be ashamed for asking for help. There's nothing shameful about it. There's nothing lazy about it. You need that help, go get it. Because your mental health matters. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. You just had to use the name of our group in it,
Yes,
and that completes it, right? Thank you very much, Reverend. Thank you so much. So now I'm coming to Pimo, and I want you to tell other what message, not tell, what message do you have for other leaders, your other women leaders in your position? And you're not just a pastor; you are a mentor to a lot of people. You've been with the five where over 80,000 of us that will listen and watch you, and you have great women leaders in this group as well. What message do you have for them when it comes to mental health?
Thank you so much, Dio, for that. And I felt like saying, preach it, mama, when Reverend Victoria was talking. I just felt like saying that. I forgot I was in a panel session and I wasn't in church. But truth is, as a leader, uh, first and foremost, there's a mistake we make, and that is especially within. I'm going to speak within the church because that is my domain. We give unsolicited advice. We see someone, a child or someone going through stuff, and then we begin to come up with all manner of solutions that they didn't ask us. Have you gone to this place? Have you prayed about it? Have you done this? Forgetting that most times people that are going through these things already know that there is an issue. And most times we give unsolicited advice without proper, as in actual, the right answers to the issue. And like I'd rightly said and established, as a leader to another leader, if there are leaders listening to me, when you know that is beyond your jurisdiction, it is not lack of faith to refer the person to a professional. I believe strongly, the Bible says that everything that God created is good. And it is okay for us to acknowledge that medicine is of God. It is not of the devil. the knowledge the doctors have in the different areas of medicine, mental, physical health, however it is given to them by God. Ability to study human behavior and study our social behavior, study all these things about us and how we are formed, how we are wired mentally is a gift from God. And before things escalate, and that is the problem, that excellency rightly said it, we over spiritualize things. We take things out of context. I remember, and I'll just quickly drop this. I was preaching in church on Sunday and I was talking about Hannah, and how she had to manage waiting on God for a child. And here was the second wife just churning out children. And you can imagine if someone like Hannah had gone to church, everybody would keep saying things like, "Oh, we are waiting on God for you, we're praying for you," and all of that. It's enough stigma already for her. At some point in the Bible, in that, First Samuel, the Bible says that um Hannah went to God with bitterness of soul. And I remember sharing with them. I said sometimes it's okay to allow people express themselves. I think that is one of the major dangers. People are too afraid in church especially to express themselves. And what I want to appeal to people, to leaders, allow people express themselves. It doesn't mean that they've gone out of faith. It doesn't mean that God is angry with them. Sometimes the way we portray God himself is looking in heaven and he's like, this is not me. We portray him like he's just ready to stab you at the slightest expression of doubt or expression of fear or expression of anything. I think it is our ability to allow people express themselves first. The Bible says in bitterness of soul, she prayed. You can't pray if you can't express yourself. Even God himself expects us to come to him as we are and give him our burdens. And I think that is the role of leaders in church. Let these people be able to come to you and express themselves. Express themselves. And I would like to also say that we should create platforms in church where these things are talked about. It shouldn't just be on social media where we have these conversations. Some of us have short charges before our main service. Bring a doctor. Let them talk about this thing. Let's create an awareness. Yes, we say that the house of God is the place of healing, but I dare say that you have doctors in your churches. They're not there to just warm your pews, they're there also to create awareness. A lot of women are even afraid to go for their regular medical checkup yearly. Why? Because they are afraid that they will hear something bad. So I think reprogramming our ability to begin to recalibrate the heart and the mind of the average church goer to understand that your health, your physical health, mental health, emotional health is as important as your spiritual health. And there are different areas that needs to be addressed, and there are people created, designed, equipped by God himself to address those areas. And so I'm very particular, I'm very passionate about it, and I'm passionate about it also with leaders because, like you rightly said, Dio, we are like the frontline people. People look up to us. What you say, how you say these things, and how you address these issues it becomes goes a very, very long way. And with the issue of domestic violence, Her Excellency has said a whole lot about that, especially with women. I'm passionate about women. And I really feel that when a lot of women can come rightly, into their rightful place mentally, a lot of problems people have in marriages is something that they were brought up with. You grew up being told so many things. It has shaped the way you think. Unknown to you, unconsciously, you bring these baggages into marriage. And then you begin to run from pillar to post, from church to church, pastor to pastor. And pastors become prayer contractors over issues that you should just go and see a professional. They will tell you what to do, counsel you through it with the help of God. Now, I'm not removing God out of the equation. No, God is still at the center. But alongside seeking help spiritually, I pray and hope that our leaders, our spiritual leaders, will also guide people in the right direction, especially people going through marital issues. Let's not overburden these people by giving them number of hours and days and weeks to go and pray and fast when we've not actually sat them down to tell them the real truth that they actually need help and they need counseling. from the professionals. And if you're a pastor listening to me and you are not a professional, you're not a professional coach, you're not a professional marriage counselor, please let's leave it the professionals to do their jobs, and let's encourage them. And above all, I'm repeating it, awareness within the walls of our church, awareness. Let them know this is where we stand, this is what we believe in, and continue to preach these things, even to our members and to our flock. Before we preach at them, let's show them love. And one of the ways to show them love is to point them in the right direction. Yeah, that will be my message. Thank you,
Thank
Dio.
Thank you, Pimo. Thank you. You said a lot, and there was a time I was just applauding you. I was just clapping, and that was the time that you talked about creating platforms in the house of God, or in our worship centers. My Reverend Ike Alabi, he talked about collaboration, that religious leaders have to collaborate with medical professionals, and like you said, almost every church has got lots of professionals. Let's put them to use. Thank you so much, Pimo, for that message to other spiritual leaders. So I will bring in my barrister now to talk to us legal professionals as well. And then Excellency will help us talk about all the bills that people should support to help, and to other leaders in the community and in the political setting. So now I'll bring Barrister Folakia Jai. What should other legal professionals know when it comes to mental health? How can they increase awareness and reduce the stigma?
Thank you very much. I agree with what Reverend just said too. I also want to say that sometimes when you're a superwoman or a superman, you should understand that it's not every time you feel super. It's not every time you, as a strong woman, the go-to woman or go-to man, it's not every time you're strong. It's not every time you are super. You also need help. And as lawyers, we should not forget the fact that we were called to the bar when we were found to be fit and proper persons to be called to the bar. And being fit and proper is not all about your academic prowess, no. It's about your psychological, everything in totality. And so when you feel that you're not feeling that word, you're not good in
Okay, I think we have each with our internet. So I'll bring up first the Excellency in the First Lady. Is she coming back?
Yeah, yes. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. Well, on what we should do, or ask other people, political leaders, and so on, with respect to the mental health matter. First and foremost, like I said, there is need to raise awareness about mental health. It's very low, and many people are even ignorant of what mental health is all about. So we need to create that awareness, or raise the level of awareness. And you can only do that when government recognizes the role of mental health in a nation's development. There must be a recognition. Like I said, there isn't much to write home about. When you look at the Ministry of Health, you look at their policies on health matters, there's virtually nothing on mental health. So we have to start now.
Yes.
And one of the fastest way I envisioned that we can get this done is through the Violence Against person's prohibition beyond the VAC I talked about, though it centers more on sexual gender-based violence, but part of the things to do is to what do you call it? Build capacity of professionals, counselors. So if we're able from that angle, train more people to handle issues bordering on mental health, psychosocial concerns, because when a woman is battered, when a woman or a child is violated, you need to counsel such an individual. And if you don't have the right words, the right language, you won't be able to handle the situation. You will just talk as if, that's the end of it. Therefore, if government now deploys resources to train such people, which can probably happen in the universities and so on and so forth, then we'll be able to raise the awareness, we're able to get into the communities to talk about mental health issues. This is one way I think we can fast track the issue of raising awareness on mental health within our communities and within the nation. And as regards to women as individuals, I think one of the speakers had emphasized on us loving ourselves, taking care of ourselves. They usually say that women are the last persons in the family to take care of themselves. They take care of husband, take care of children, take care of in-laws. They are the last. We want you to take care of yourself first. Be healthy, because if you're healthy enough, then you can take care of other members of the family. Sometimes take a day off. I don't know. Here, holidaying is not that popular with us, except the upper class or middle class. But there are other ways women can also, recreate and calm down and refresh and so on and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Before I let you go, while you're still talking, I want you to tell us, what do you do personally on a daily basis or regularly to improve your mental health? Like, this is for my mental health. What do you do?
Thank you. Like I said, we should be able to give ourselves a break. Think of something that brings joy to you. For me, I exercise. I jog at least 5 times in a week, and I top it with yoga. I jog between 6 a.m. and 7, and then with that kind of workout, you have a cold shower. You feel so good, so refreshed to face your day. And I think for me that my plate is full of activities and flowing. I need to have that exercise regimen. Otherwise, I won't be able to cope, because no dull moment for me. A lot. I'm involved in so much traveling, so many activities that if I didn't have that kind of regimen, I won't be able to keep up with my activities. And like I said, women should just find time to do things that bring joy to their lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for sharing that. Exercise is one of the key things, to help not just our physical health but our mental health. I'm glad you as a leader, you are giving us that example. And the
Yes,
excuse that most of us have is that we don't have time, and you prefer the solution. You have
yes.
to just have it
Let me
regimented.
jump in here. Sorry, if you create time for yourself,
Mhm.
if for instance you think exercise is by joining a gym, you think about driving out and driving back and so on. It will take your time. The jogging I do is within that compound. 6 a.m. I'm up and I do about 20 rounds and I will sweat, do my yoga. In fact, I'm sure those who own gyms, they have lost, a revenue from my own side because I don't belong to any gym. I do it within. So you can do that within your premises. Even if you're just walking around, if you don't jog like me, you walk around. That sweating,
Yeah.
is a kind of calming you down too.
Hmm.
And after the cold shower I talk about, you feel so refreshed and
Yeah.
face the day. Yeah.
Yes. So what our excellency is saying is that exercise doesn't have to be expensive. You don't have to have a gym membership. In fact, sometimes sometimes when my parents are around, I just keep hearing boo 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 upstairs. They are working back and forth, and then sometimes I get upstairs and I find my dad or my mom sweating. What are you doing? I said they've been exercising back and forth in the house. So it does not have to be expensive, but it is very valuable for our mental health. Pimo, what do you do on a daily basis? I enjoy reading all those things that you post on Babes Refined. I look forward to your writings. They edify me. Sometimes I laugh. It's one of my own mental health thing. But what do you do on a regular
Wow.
basis?
I, I'm glad that my post is helping your mental health. I should charge you for it.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Okay. I'm a fun person. I'm sure you know that by now, Oluwadayo. I'm a fun person. I love fun, and I think that's one of the ways I I keep myself together. Yeah. There's a tendency to get really busy. There's a tendency to have a whole lot to do. But one of the things I do is I quickly recognize when I'm shutting down. I quickly recognize I'm most active in the mornings. That those are my best times, my best hours. Early morning, and I'm an early riser, so I'm most active. I'm most productive in the mornings. When it start getting towards evening, I'm shutting down, and that's just me. You really can't get me to do much. So I had to learn, and I'm going to say this because I know a lot of leaders need to hear it. I had to learn to say no. I had to learn to cancel appointments. It's not me. It's not me. I'm not wired like that. I'm a people's person. I find it hard to say no, but I had to learn some years ago that it's okay to say no. It's okay to say, I'm sorry, I can't accommodate this now because I won't give you my best. So someone is calling me, sending me a message for counseling on something, and I know that I am already shutting down. I will tell you, I'm sorry, can we do this tomorrow? I'm sorry, can we do this in another 2 days? Hope is not an emergency. As long as it's not an emergency, I can say, please, let's do it another day so that I can give you my best, or else I'll just give you my tired self. So one of the ways is to know when I'm shutting down and not encourage anything else that will stress me out. And another way that I help myself to calm my nerves and just enjoy myself is I love watching movies when I have the time. So yeah, I could just settle in with a movie in the evening. I haven't done that in a long time for a while. I'm not so good at series. I try because I know it takes a lot of time, but just settle down, watch a movie, nice movie, laugh, get my mind off whatever it is that I'm doing. And then last of all, I love to just probably hang out if I can, hang out with a few friends if I can, just get a day out, call a few friends, and those who have my time will go out, or even in the house, just shut off every other thing, push my laptop aside, and I rarely not have anyone in the house with me. So yeah, we're just there, just talk, just about something else other than what I'm doing. So yeah, that's how I try to keep myself, sane and go through the day, the week, and the month. So yeah.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. You talked about boundaries. You talked about knowing your limits and setting boundaries. I want to quickly flip this, to all the leaders here, because even as a professional, even, I have had my episode and I talk about it of depression. And I had to get that wake up call and really know, okay, what is good for me? When do I seek help? What do I do? So personally, taking care of our mental health, my mental health matters. Setting limits, like you said, and knowing your boundaries is very important for all of us. And it's something that Barrister has also spoken to as well. Set limits, let people set expectations. It helps all of us. So I'll let Barrister Falake talk about what she does on a regular basis, and then I will wrap up. I want everyone to please listen to this as we wrap up. But Barrister Falake, can you tell us what you do on a regular basis for your mental health?
Thank you very much. After serious work is, yes, once I get home in the evening, I take my mind off work, off any serious work. And how do I do that? If I don't have any comedy, I love comedy, something that will make me laugh, something that will make me really, really laugh. And so I've discovered a lot of comedy skits on the phone. You just find me laughing, and it take my mind off work. And like PMO too, I think I do a lot of fun things. I can hang out, read novels, anything that will not be serious, that will not task my brain at all, that will just make me laugh. I think I do a lot of that in the evenings. And when I can take time off work, I like sleeping. Maybe when I feel that I'm getting tired, I just take time off, sleep for a whole day if I can, and then I'll get better and be more productive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ma. So if I, can summarize that, you create time for fun, you prioritize your rest, and you also socialize with people when you can. You,
Yes.
I know that I have leaders in the house, and I am very honored to have everybody, come and join me today. And you have said so many valuable things that just listing these things and sharing it would not have the same impact, the same significance as hearing it from you. So thank you all so much. Let me say these three things. Your Excellency, thank you so much for making time out to come here. I'm one of those busy things. You have everybody coming at you with different requests. But I must tell you, I feel really honored that you accepted to come here today and for everything that you've shared with us. I want to use this medium to invite you to the group as well. And talking of awareness, every member of my Mental Health Matters Facebook group, we're doing excellently well. We talk about the power of one, and you don't have to be a leader or something before you can impact the lives of people around you. So we specially invite you to our group. Uh, to Pimo and the barrister, Reverend Victoria had to leave because she's actually doing a group therapy with some people. She told me about it. It's still all about mental health. I'm so grateful that you all came on board. And so, talking about awareness, the fact that you all showed up on something that has the headline mental health on it in itself is increasing awareness. And I'm honored that you did this with me. Thank you all so much. And as we'll be logging off, I want to say, please, even though you all have different priorities, kindly find a way to incorporate mental health into it. I can help in any way that I can, religious side, legal side, and the political side, and advocacy. Please just help us find a way to put mental health into it, because mental health just comes into play all the time. So I would wrap up by saying, God bless you. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing the other great things you're going to do as it relates to mental health in the nearest and far future. Thank you all. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to our viewers.